Every year, thousands of people move to Connecticut, and a significant number of them choose Fairfield County. Some are coming from New York City looking for more space. Some are relocating for work. Others are already in Connecticut and trying to make a move that better fits their stage of life. So what draws people here tends to be a combination of things. The proximity to New York City, of course, the schools, the coastline, the downtowns, and the feeling that you can have space and community without feeling isolated. But there's a mistake I see people make when moving to Fairfield County that almost no one anticipates, and it can quietly reshape their entire experience once they're already here. So today, I want to talk through the 6 most common mistakes I see buyers make when moving to Fairfield County and what you can do differently so you make decisions with clarity instead of assumptions. If you're new here, my name is Chris Giolito. I'm a Fairfield County realtor, and this channel exists to give you a realistic picture of what living here actually feels like. Not just the highlight reel, but the day-to-day realities that matter when you're choosing where to live. If that's helpful, feel free to subscribe, and my contact info is always pinned in the comment if you ever want to talk through your situation. The first mistake is one that tends to catch people off guard the most. A lot of buyers assume that property taxes are relatively consistent across Fairfield County, same state, similar looking homes, so it feels reasonable to assume the numbers won't be dramatically different. In reality, they often are. 2 homes with the same purchase price, similar square footage, and even similar age can have noticeably different monthly costs, depending on the town. This surprises buyers because they usually focus on the purchase price and the interest rate. But property taxes in Connecticut are set at the town level, not the county level. Each town in Fairfield County sets its own mill rate. Each town reassesses on its own schedule, and each town funds schools, services, and infrastructure differently. That means a price point that feels comfortable in one town can feel tight in another once taxes are added into the monthly picture. What makes this more challenging is that online estimates are often incomplete. National cost of living sites, mortgage calculators, and even some listing platforms don't always reflect recent revaluations or town-specific changes. Now, I'm not a tax professional, but I've seen buyers who were surprised after closing because the numbers they planned around didn't match reality. The takeaway here isn't fear, it's just awareness. The best approach is to slow the process down just enough to look at the actual tax bills, compare similar homes in the same town, understand how reassessments work locally, and when buyers do this up front, they tend to feel much more confident and far less stressed later on. The second mistake is treating Fairfield County like one unified housing market instead of a collection of very different towns and neighborhoods. People will often look up the median home price for Connecticut or even Fairfield County as a whole and assume they understand what homes cost here. But Fairfield County isn't one market. It's a mix of coastal towns, inland towns, urban centers, and quieter residential communities, all with different price ranges, housing styles, and lifestyles. Living in a walkable downtown area feels very different than living a few miles inland, even if the zip code is exactly the same. Price per square foot changes, lot sizes change, school district boundaries change, and daily conveniences change. This is where comparisons start to break down. Some might compare a smaller home near a train station to a larger home farther out and assume one is clearly the better value. But value depends on how you actually live. If you enjoy walking to restaurants, grabbing coffee nearby, and minimizing car use, you might be comfortable trading space for location. If you prioritize privacy, a yard, or room to grow, you may feel the opposite. Neither choice is right or wrong, but assuming they deliver the same experience usually leads to frustration. A helpful exercise is to picture a normal weekday. Where do you go in the morning? How often are you driving? What does your evening look like? Then picture a normal weekend. Errands, social plans, kids' activities, downtime. Once you walk through those scenarios, honestly, the right areas often become clearer. This is also a good place to pause for a second if you're watching this and realizing you're not entirely sure which towns or neighborhoods align with how you actually live. That's extremely common. This is one of the most frequent conversations I have with buyers. A short planning conversation can often save months of searching and a lot of second guessing. And if that's helpful, my information is pinned in the comment section below. The next mistake has to do with commuting. And this one tends to affect people after they've already moved. A lot of buyers assume that if a town is on the Metro North line, the commute will be straightforward. But train service varies more than people expect. Frequency, express options, station parking, and off-peak schedules all play a role, especially if you're not commuting 5 days a week. Some stations offer frequent express service that makes commuting manageable, even from farther away. Others rely more heavily on local trains. Some stations have abundant parking, others require planning or alternatives. And if you're commuting on a hybrid schedule, midday and evening options matter more than people initially realize. The mistake is choosing a home first and then figuring out the commute later. A better approach is to map out the commute you'll actually take. Look at schedules during the hours you'll travel and consider walking distance, parking rules, and backup options. In some cases, a town that looks farther away on the map ends up feeling easier day to day because the train service aligns better with your routine. Another common mistake is assuming all Fairfield County towns offer the same long-term outlook. People sometimes fall in love with a town name or reputation without digging into what the town actually delivers. Some areas are actively adding restaurants, housing, and infrastructures. Others are more established and intentionally slower to change. Neither is better or worse, they're simply different. What matters is understanding which environment fits you best. School district structure, park access, downtown activity, transportation, and future plans all shape what living in a town feels like over time. When buyers take the time to understand those differences, they tend to feel much more settled in their decision. Another factor that often gets underestimated, especially by people moving from warmer climates, is winter. Winter in Fairfield County affects more than just the temperature. It impacts heating costs, commuting, parking, and which homes are easier to live in. Older homes can have higher utility costs. Long driveways and street parking become more noticeable. Snow removal becomes part of daily life. Thinking seasonally during your home search helps avoid frustration later. Ask about heating systems. Pay attention to insulation and windows. Consider garage access and driveway layout. And when you're budgeting, make sure winter utilities are part of the conversation, not an afterthought. The final misconception I hear often is that suburbs automatically mean cheaper and better. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. While suburban homes often offer more space, transportation costs add up. Cars, insurance, fuel, maintenance, parking, and time spent commuting all matter. In some situations, paying more for a home closer to work or transit can make sense when you factor in time and flexibility. The mistake is comparing only home prices. A better way to think about it is total lifestyle cost, housing, transportation, commute time, and how you actually want to spend your days living. For some households, the suburbs are the right fit. For others, a more walkable or centrally located area makes more sense for them. There's no universal answer. At the end of the day, moving to Fairfield County successfully means understanding the details that don't always show up in listings, rankings, or highlight videos. And if you felt unsure at any point during this process, that's completely normal. This is a nuanced market. If you're thinking about a move, my contact info is in the comment section below, and I'm always happy to talk things through. And if you want to keep up with what's going on in Fairfield County, watch the next video where I break down what living in different Fairfield County towns actually feels like, including lifestyle, pricing, and trade-offs. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.